Isang mapagpalayang araw po. Ngayon ang ika-3 ng Nobyembre 2020. Ako po si RJ Javellana Jr. Welcome po kayong lahat dito sa Katipunan Channel, Talakayan Bayan.
Si Butch Valdes po ng KDP.
Toti Casiño po ng Philippine Society.
Ikalima na po ito sa ating programa na ang paksa natin ay ang Panawagan, no? Sa Patriyotikong Pilipino, Panawagan ng Patriyotikong Pilipino. Bakit po natin pinapaulit-ulit itong panawagan na ito? Hindi lang po dahil sa ito'y napapanahon, kung hindi napakahalaga talaga ang papel ng mga patriotikong Pilipino sa panahon ngayon dahil ang daming mga issues, na mga concerns, no? Ekonomiya, kapayapaan, lahat na po, no? Kalusugan ay kailangan talaga ng bayanihan at tulong-tulong nating mga Pilipino, lalong-lalo na sa mga sitwasyon na katulad na ito.
Yeah, importante kasi because itong mga current issues na tinututukan ngayon ng gobyerno sa pamamagitan nitong organization called ELCAC. Nakita niyo po, the last time we had General Parlade and we had other marine officers. We had the reason we do that para mapahayag po natin ng mabuti sa mamayan itong the seriousness of the problem, no? Kasi po dati ang nangyari hanggang ngayon, no? Kadalasan ito pong mga mainstream media, iniiwasan i-take up itong mga ito. Tapos, ang posisyon po ng gobyerno o ang militar, they are not able to bring out, no, their the issues properly and are not able to explain it because the mainstream media have been avoiding this. What we want to do is to get the truth out, no, not just from the military, no, but from all the people that have been somewhat involved, no, in the whole situation. And this is very important because ang CPP-NPA insurgency problem po affects the economy, affects the way of life, affects the peace and order situation, affects the political situation, no. So lahat po yan, no. At pumapasok na po itong mga to sa iba-ibang institusyon ng ating pamahalaan, no? Parang gumagapang sa loob, no? At naapekto na po pati na yung mga local government natin, mga governors, tsaka mga mayors. Medyo natatakot na po sila, no? Natatakot sila na if they go against the CPP-NPA, either manggugulo sila o gagawa ng mga karahasan o baka patayin pa yung mga governor at mayor. So we are in that kind of a situation. Parang we're being held hostage and by extortion, no, by people that are of certain ideology. No?
Hindi naman sa pumapanig ang Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino laban dito sa mga usaping makaliwa, no? Dahil tayo po ay malayang bansa at dapat na natin ay madinig ang bawat panig ng ating lipunan para na sa ganun ay tayo umunlad ng sabay-sabay, no? Ang ayaw lang natin dito sa ating pamalaan ay yung mga kilusan na talagang gamit ang pangharasa, sandata at armas. At yan ay talagang kontra tayo dyan. At ayaw din natin ilagay sa peligro at panganib ang ating mga mamayan. Kaya nga dito ay hinihikayat natin na ayayahin itong mga sumanib dito sa teroristang NPA na walang ginawa kundi magkaharasan lang at bulabugin ang ating mga inosenteng mamamayan na sali bumalik na sa ating lipunan at maging kasapi na ng ating pamalaan para lang sa ganun ay talagang umahin tayo. Hindi naman sa pumapanig kami dito sa ating pamalaan dahil alam din natin may katiwalian din sa ating pamalaan. Kaya nga nagkakaroon nga ng usapin na paano ba natin itutuwid itong kabultutan dito sa ating bansa. At iisa lang ang ating bansa, tayo po'y kapwa Pilipino, tayo po'y nananalig na nga na sana'y magkaisa tayo, pero kung hati-hati ang ating bansa, paano tayo uusan? Kaya nga yan po ang aming paksa at ito po'y tinutulak ng Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino.
Isa sa mahalagang punto rito kung bakit sinasabi nating dapat tutulan ng karahasan sapagkat ang saligang batas ang nagsasabi na isa lang talaga ang sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas. Hindi pwedeng merong ibang mga paksyon ng mga grupo na magtayo ng armadong pwersa at ibagsak ang isang estado o isang gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng dahas. Ito po ay malinaw na pinagbabawal ng ating saligang batas. At katulad po ng sinabi ni General Antonio Parlade na dapat ibaba ang armas ng New People's Army at pumasok na dun sa sinasabing mainstream. Hindi kasi pwedeng dual tactics eh. Katulad ng ginawa nitong Senado kanina, yung hearing ni Senator Pampilo Lacson kanina, na in full force yung LCAC na pumunta ron. Nandun si Secretary ng National Security Council, si Esperon. Nandun si Secretary Anyo, nandun din yung director ng NICA at yung mga ilang taga PCOO at yung dating Cadre ng New People's Army nang bigay ng statement. At ngayong araw na ito nga po ay hinihintay po natin na makapanayam natin ang isa po sa mga dumalo roon sa Senado na si Ka Eric. Ay bumabiyahe lang po sila, bumabiyahe lang at pagtigil po noon ay kukuha na ng magandang pwesto at makakapanayam natin siya. Ganun din po si Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy ng Presidential Communication ng tanggapan ng Pangulo para makapanayam din natin dahil isa yan sa mga binabanatan din ng Makabayan Block at hinara nga yung kanilang budget yung kanilang budget ngayong para sa 2021 dahil nga sinasabing may claim itong si Usec Badoy na itong mga party list groups na merong impluwensya o relasyon ang sinasabing CPP-NPA at yan ang dahilan kung bakit nagkaroon ng investigasyon ngayong araw na ito hinggil dito sa usapin ng sa usaping ito na kahit si General Antonio Parlade, sino pa ba, yung mga ibang mga lumutang para sabihin na itigil na itong karahasan na nangyayari na ang biktima naman dito pakatunayan hindi naman ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, hindi rin naman NPA o CPP ang biktima rito. Ang biktima dito tayong mga sibilyan, tayong mga walang sandata, tayong mga malaya na nagpapahayag, malaya na nagtatrabaho, malaya na gumagalaw, biktima tayo ng digmaan na itinutulak ng isang partido politikal na ang main ideology nga ay Maoism, which is yung paghawak ng sandata. Maalala mo, Professor Toti, yung experience sa Khmer Rouge sa Cambodia? Di ba ilang milyong mga yung pinatay talaga, no? Isipin mo, kung professor ka, hindi ka ubra ron. Dedo ka. Diretso ka ron sa hukay. Huhukay ka, di ba? Ang daming namatay. At yun po ay isang halimbawa ng ideolohiyang Maoism, no? Na kung saan itong CPP-NPA, yan ang kanilang main form of struggle since 1969. Ngayon po ay 2020, 52 years. And CPP 68 yata no? March 29 ang NPA 1969, ang CPP is December 26, no? 1968 ni Jose Maria Sison. na namumuno ng isang digmaang bayan sa pamagitan lamang ng laptop doon sa Utrecht. No? Nagko-command na, Di ba?
Pero command niya,
High-tech. Tapos,
madalas po natin sinasabi, no? At ito po ang posisyon ng KDP. We are always for system change. We are always for wanting to change certain part of the system or the substantial part of the system. Kaya lang, if you're going to use tyranny to change that system, if you're going to use violence to change the system, you will probably have to use violence to keep that new system that you want. No? So dahil, wala nang sigil, karahasan din ang pag-implement mo ng system mo. No? Yun po ang mangyayari.
Yung ba'y demokratiko? Nakikipaglaban ka, baguhin yung isang bulok na lipunan, tapos kukunin mo sa madugong pamamaraan, parang para ma-implement mo, madugo din pamararaan ang gagawin mo. Katulad ng sinasabi mo kanina sa Pol Pot, sa Cambodia, no? Yung killing fields. No? It was by a revolution that they took over, no? Nung when they took si Hanuk, si Hanuk, no? At pumasok itong si Pol Pot, no? Tapos yung Pol Pot nag-implement again. Tapos na, sila na may hawak. But they had to kill more people, no? In order to be able to instill whatever system they wanted to, no? Kaya kanya nagkaroon na po ng killing fields. Millions have died, 7 or 8 million ang punatay doon. Mahigit pa doon sa pinatay ni Hitler ng mga Jews. Opo. Yun po yung halimbawa nung mawis mo. Mabuti na lang, dahil ang Cambodia, kapitbahay niya yung Vietnam eh. Itong mga Vietnamese, sinalakay yung Cambodia. Sinalakay nila. So, yung mga kampo nung Khmer Rouge ba ang pangalan nun? Yun, tumakbo doon sa gilid ng Thailand, nandun sila sa border. Hanggang sa magapi sila, pero grabe po talaga. Isipin mo yung yun ang hindi ko maintindihan sa cultural revolution concept na yung ideya mo gusto i-erase ng isang bago kung isasalampak yung hindi naman robot ang tao maling-mali talaga.
No, that's why it's an idea. Kaya dapat ang sinasaka tulad na rin sinabi ni General Parlade, tayo din naman ganito ang ating paningin. Kung walang armas, mag-participate sila.
Debate tayo pa
sa Kongreso, no? At humingi sila ng boto sa tao para mailagay sila sa Kongreso. Tapos doon magdidebatihan kung ano ang gusto ng tao, anong idea, anong method of government ang gusto nila, no? Hindi pwede yung gagamit ka ng baril. Ang nangyayari po, para kayong parang extortion na no?
Banditry.
Parang banditry in a wider scale, no? Gagamit ka ng baril, no? Para kumuha ka ng pera, no? Pag may pera ka, yun ang ginagamit mo pang hanap ng cadre, ng mga cadre, ng mga kasundaluhan nyo, no? Hindi tama hindi ba po?
Actually, kung susuriin ng mabuti, walang himagsikan o walang digmaan ang lumalabas na walang gastos. Lahat po niyan ay may pinagpumumulan ng pagkagastusan. Ngayon, ito nangyari nga sa Cambodia, Khmer Rouge, paglalaban niya ng mga grupo, mga tribong tawag nilang Karen. At yung Karen na yan ay isang grupo na na-influensya na mismong pumalag sa mga naukulan sa pamahalaan. Kaya nga nagkaroon ng parang ubusan ng lahi. At dahil nga dito, hindi nga makatwiran man o hindi nga makatao, ay kinilala na yan na talagang gawain na mukhang malawakan genocide. At ganoon din po nangyari dito sa ating sarili nating kapaligiran. Kaya nga tinutukoy nga nito sa mga pagdidinig, sa mga dating mga sumanib dito sa puwersa ng NPA at bumalik na nga sa ating lipunan, ay unawain kung saan sila kumukuha ng pondo para pagtustusan itong mga kilusan ng paghihimagsik at digmaan ng ating mga naligaw ng mga mayan sa NPA. At gusto ko nilang itatag kung talagang ito ba ay nanggaling sa buwis ng taong bayan, itong tinatawag nilang pork barrel, itong mga nakuha na party list, na nilagay dyan. So, ang irony nito, sila na nga binigyan ng pagkakataon na makaupo sa ating pamahalaan, itong mga makaliwang mga partido, para idinig ang kanilang daing sa ating pamahalaan. Pero kung yung kanilang poder gagamitin para maghibagsik, mali naman siguro yun. At yan ay talagang tinutukuyan ng ating mga mambabatas dito sa pagdidinig, dito sa mga sumanib na nga dito sa ating pamahalaan. Parang gano'n, malaman nila ano ang karapat-dapat na hatol o kaya patakaran ang meron ng ating pamahalaan nang sa gano'n lagi tayong nasa tamang galaw. Kaya hindi nga basta-basta titigilan tayo dito, alamin kung sino ng mga naging biktima nila, sino nire-recruit nila dahil marami lumalabas social media na ang may ginagawa silang paraan ng pagre-recruit, paghihikayat ng ating mga kabataan. Dati hinihikayat nga nila yung mga katutubo at mismo sila katutubo ang nagreklamo sa ating mga mababatas na mali-mali ang kanilang ginagawa. So sa simula, tinuturuan sila ng mga kultura at salita at politikan, yung pala ay hinaka sila para lumaban sa pamahalaan. At mismo ang katutubo ang nagbigay ng ulat sa ating pamahalaan na ayaw nila ito, hindi nila gusto ito, kaya nga gusto nila sila ay ipagtanggol at protektahan ang ating hukbong salutahan. Kaya nga ito rin, alamin din natin sa ganito kung itong mga kilusan ng ating mga kaliwa ay talagang sadya ba nila talagang makikahit sila para ilabanan nila ang kanilang hangarin o talagang ito gusto nila manggulo lang at wasakin ang ating estado?
Nandito na po at kasama natin si Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy ng PCOO. At kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, ay siya nandun din sa pagdinig kanina sa Senado. Kaya medyo na-late ng konti. Isang mapayapang gabi po, Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy, at welcome po kayo dito sa ating palatuntunang Katipunan Channel, Talakayan Bayan. Welcome po.
Magandang gabi, RJ, Butch, Toti, at sa lahat ng tagapakinig. Yan, nandun ako kanina sa Senado.
Opo. Ano po ba ang naging, alam ko nagkaroon pa ng executive session di po ba?
Hindi, walang executive session.
Hindi na okay.
Pero yung posibilidad na magkakaroon, pwede.
Opo.
Pwede, hindi pa nangyayari.
Opo. Makakasabay niyo po mamaya si Ka Eric, sa Panayam na ito at kumukuha rin siya ng signal. Kamusta na po ba? Mukhang kayo po ay nalagay sa isang kondisyon na talagang para ipagtanggol ang ating inang bayan, at tingin ko ay isang karangalan po. Kayo ang totoong Gabriela. Po?
Salamat.
Kayo po, ano bang naging ugat nitong mga background nito at bakit mukhang naging very special po kayo dyan sa Makabayan Block na yan?
Kasi, I think head convener kasi ako sa Strategic Communications ng MPS-LCAC. Tapos, nakikita ko talaga na ang mandato kasi ng Pangulo napakalinaw ng instructions niya sa amin. Tapusin na natin ito bago ako bumaba sa 2022. Huwag na natin ito ipamana pa sa susunod na administrasyon. So, nakita ko talaga na hindi na pwede pati na ang dami mga anak natin na nare-recruit, So I just spoke out. I just said na the truth, that Makabayan Block is CPP-NPA, NDF. Kasi yun naman ang totoo. Actually, yung totoo dyan, sinadya ko yun. Sinadya ko na isama siya i-timing siya sa budget. Kasi gusto ko talagang mapansin ng taong bayan ito. Tsaka, alam ko naman kung anong gagawin sa akin doon. Alam ko, bababuyin ako. Pero wala namang epekto sa akin yun. Walang epekto. Basta, at saka masaya ako na it caught the eye of the attention of the Filipino people who we've been trying to inform. Diba? Kasi sila talaga, ang Pilipino talaga, yan ang audience namin, hindi ang Makabayan Block. They're never our audience. We don't talk to them.
Usec, Lorraine, can you give us a profile on what comprises the Makabayan Block for the benefit of our viewers?
Okay. Ang Makabayan Block is composed of Sara Elago of the Kabataan Party List, and Franz Castro of the ACT, Carlos Sarate, Eufemia Culyamat Ferdigaite of Bayan Muna, and Arlene Brosas of Gabriela. And all of them are high-ranking party members of the CPP-NPA NDF Central Committee. We've known this for quite a while, so why shouldn't we tell the Filipino people?
Right.
The Filipino people should know.
Mhm.
It is our duty to inform the Filipino people, most especially about things that affect their lives, most especially if it's our children. And it's already there. Nasa polisiya ng CPP-NPA NDF na ang mga anak natin ang target. Sila yung pinagkukuhaan ng supply ng mga recruits ng CPP-NPA NDF. But hindi ko sasabihin yon, di ba? Dapat sabihin natin yon. And then it turns out, nalaman ko na alam na pala ng taong bayan, alam na pala nila yan. Pero syempre, malaking bagay pag nanggaling sa gobyerno mismo at opisyal na pahayag, which is what it was.
Okay.
That is the official stand of the National Task Force, of which the President heads, and of which the whole government is made up of.
How many party list organizations are included in our Congress now? Party list of the leftist orientation.
Right now, I think there are 4. Wait, there's ACT, Gabriela, Bayan Muna, and Kabataan Party. So there's 4.
Only 4, no?
Yeah.
And
That's a lot. That's a lot, Butch. That's we're talking about something like 2 million votes, I think. Something like that. That's a lot. That's a lot. So
every party list has how many representatives? 2?
no, Bayan Muna has 3.
3?
And then ACT has 1. Kabataan and Gabriela has 1 each.
Okay.
So 6.
Kabataan and Gabriela, hindi naman sila umabot ng 200,000 votes eh. But because parang hindi na fill up lahat ng seats, parang pinasok sila ng ng COMELEC, something like that.
The reason I'm asking Usec is if there are 6 did you say 6 members now in
Yes.
Congress right now, and each one of them receives a pork barrel of 75 million pesos every year. That's a lot of money for the communist organizations. No?
Yes.
Not to count the other extortion activities they have outside. No? You know, when they collect from the different big businesses in the Tubac. No? Have you been able to more or less estimate how much they are able to raise every year?
Eric did the math. I'm really lousy with math. There was something like 70 times 6. So 350. So that's around 40 something, 42 something like that. Million, And Butch, RJ, and Toti, the thing that really strikes me more than anything is how so many things in our society we've come to accept things that should not be acceptable. But we've come to accept it. And that's part of it. Like our children in places that when I was young were supposedly safe places, like our schools.
Right.
But right under our noses, they're there, di ba? In Alakbayan is there, LFS is there, CEGP is there, Ibon, Karapatan, they're all there. Stealing our children away from us, and you can't do anything about it. I don't think so.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything under our constitution or any other existing laws that prohibits such activity, particularly recruiting the youth to become members of subversive groups or radical groups such as the NPA and the terrorist groups?
Now there is Toti, which is why they really. I'm talking about the Anti-Terror Act. Now there is, but prior to that there wasn't. We had a very inutile law, the Human Security Act of 2007, I think. 2007.
Okay.
That we were 7th in the global index of terrorism, the highest, and that's one of the causes, no? An inutile law. But now we have a law that will allow government to defend and protect its people.
Okay, this does not only cover terrorism within the left leaning, but also all forms of terrorism, including ISIS and extreme Islamic beliefs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, kawawa naman talaga tayo, Toti. We're really kawawa. I mean, all these years, di ba? I mean, can you imagine a country without the CPP-NPA, NDF? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It makes me, it's really beautiful. I mean, when you sit in Congress, because we had to stay there for the budget hearing, papakinggan mo sila, itong anim na to, puro obstruction and laws that are really beautiful, di ba, for the country.
Right.
That's all they do, because that's the reason that the 6 are there, Makabayan Block members are there, is because they were handpicked by the Central Committee of the CPP, personally handpicked by Joma Season, because they're 6 of the most hardcore, which means that they can be counted on to meet the agenda, the goals of the CPP-NPA, NDF, which is to bring down government and to install communism in our country.
Right. In the case of Joma Season, has he been declared persona non grata by the Philippine government, such that whatever he is doing, has that been official?
I'm sorry, I'm not so sure, but I think so. I'm sorry, Toti, I'm not. Nagkandagulo-gulo na kasi with all of this, there's some countries that have, sometimes it's just CPP-NPA, sometimes it's CPP-NPA, NDF, all of that. So I've had to sort things out first.
Right. You're the spokesperson for STRADCOM, Usec, no?
For the NTF-LCAC.
Yeah, and also, Usec for PCOO.
I'm not the spokesperson of PCOO.
No, you're the Usec for PCOO. Now,
yes, Butch.
We always had the feeling that the mainstream media traditionally has been very, how do you say, very soft on the leftist elements or the ideologues. No? The reason for this is it because it is their policy, or is it because there are people inside the mainstream media who are more or less in control of the news sections and the other areas, strategic areas that are in the mainstream media? What is your
Butch, RJ and Toti, the genius of the CPP-NPA, NDF is how they've recognized early on how important propaganda is.
Yeah.
So that's one of their strengths, the propaganda machine, and also their mass-based organizations. So if you're asking me, is the CPP-NPA, NDF in media? Yes, unequivocally yes. We'd be hard pressed to find any sector in our society that they're not into. That's I'm also a doctor. I'm a medical doctor, so I can't help it, but I can't help but think of this whole thing in terms of medical from the medical standpoint, that you can't change something unless you make a correct diagnosis.
Correct.
So when we're there, like kanina in Senate, at the Senate, the hope was really that to inform the Filipino people, this is what we have. We have something as big as this, as heavy as this, and then let's work together to end it. Okay, you have cancer, for instance. You have to tell the patient you have cancer, but these are our options.
Right.
And that's it. Yes, media is definitely in the CPP-NPA, and the is really in media.
Yeah. As Undersecretary,
you'd be kind of stupid not to see that, right?
Right. Yes. As Undersecretary of the Philippine Communications Office, Madam Undersecretary, and we see that in our mainstream media, quite a majority of the anti-terrorist protests are being covered by these broadcast stations. Would there be some kind of a memorandum order to inform these broadcasting stations to provide the other side of the story in favor of the anti-terrorist law? That way, the viewers, as when they watch this, they can see both sides rather than gaining the sympathy of the anti-terrorist protesters. Would there be any kind of order that the PCOO can conduct with all these news broadcasters in the country?
I don't think there's a law that will give us the power to compel them to do that.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Buti na lang. Well, mainstream media is still mainstream media, diba? The reach is really something else. But
Pero
at least there's social media now. But if you're asking me, it's really an uphill battle. You know those protests against the anti-terror law at the Supreme Court. A lot of them there, it's just it's all from one organization.
right.
Iba-iba lang, hinimay-himay. It's an old tactics playbook, CPP playbook.
Right. In the kanina, Usec, you said emphatic yung yes, they are in mainstream media. Does the government or the intelligence agencies of government, do they know who these people are in mainstream media that are secretly promoting the communist ideology?
You don't even need to be with Nika to know who these people are. They tell outright lies, and their slants are just so obvious.
Yeah, but these
Those
are the spokes. Those are the mouthpieces. Usec, no. I'm talking about the people that are behind all of this. Because these are just mouthpieces. Well, these commentators, a lot of them are dumb anyway, no. But they read text. They read the how do you say what they're supposed to say, no. But somebody is directing that. Is it the owners or people that are in the organization? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Butch, I'm not privy to that really the details, no. But what I've learned is that pag nakabaon na sa media and you are a member of the CPP-NPA, NDF, then ang kumukumpas ay ang CPP, so that you all align. You all say the same stories. You're all on the same page. That's why it's paulit-ulit, diba? It's almost word for word. They say the same thing.
Ma'am,
and it reaches the international arena. That's also amazing that the kind of broad alliances, how broad their alliances are.
Ma'am, pwede bang pakipaliwanag nyo para lalong maintindihan ng ating mga kababayan itong Executive Order number 70, lalong-lalo na po yung whole of nation approach. Bakit ito yung sinasabi nating whole of nation approach ng Executive Order number 70?
Okay. May malita kong kwento dyan, RJ, Butch at Toti. Na nung 2018 ng Enero, nalaman ng ating Pangulo na around something like 60 to 90% ng NPAs ay nanggagaling sa mga kapatid nating katutubo. So nagulat talaga siya na yun pala yung ini-exploit. Kasi yun yung pinakamalalayo, di ba? So those are one of the triggers. So nagsimula na yung journey. Tapos by December of that year, ayan na yung EO70. So I've been with the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict at the very onset. And it's been quite a journey for all of us. Na naungkat namin dahan-dahan lahat nung nakakaiyak yung mga ginawa sa ating mga kapatid na katutubo, nakakaiyak yung mga ginawa sa mga anak natin. Dahan-dahan lumalabas talaga, and these are crimes that were done in the shadows, away talaga from authority. Tapos talagang yung ninanakawan yung meron silang yung tribute na kinukuha na weekly na pagkain, and they can barely feed their own children. Yung mga tribal leaders na pinapatay pag ayaw nila, if they reject the communist ideology. And these massacres, I'm talking about the Rano massacre, where 39 Manobos were killed while they were hearing mass, that sort of thing. So dahan-dahan talaga makita mo, first because whole of government, di ba? Because at the heart and core of the anti-LCAC is good governance. It's the acknowledgement that the reason our people were exploited was because government did not serve. But so it's not anymore the military solution. It's definitely not. It has to be the whole of government. The reason our people were exploited was because they didn't serve well. So and then I went on this journey with a literal and a metaphorical journey with our IPs, with the mothers who lost their children, and slowly we realized, we're going to win. We're not going to win this because it's president, a very popular president, is the head of the task force. No, it's not even because the national task force is made up of very passionate people who really want to end this. No, the one that will end this will be the people. So we have to inform them. We have to get them on board. They have to know what's happening. The power, really, because this is really a democracy. So the power really rests on the people. So that's how the whole of nation and we see that it's working. It's really working. It's really amazing to me that for instance, for me personally, I only need to speak up. I only needed to do my part, diba? I only needed to do my job, which is to inform the people. I had to take yung mga bashing, but I'm the perfect person for that because I don't really care about it. But I had to just say it, and then there was a wellspring of support. So people are ready. No, 52 years, they're tired already. At kilala na nila kung sino itong mga ito. So government has to step up. But it's really the whole of nation. Everybody has to be on board.
Okay.
That's how big this problem is.
With Usec, Lorraine, with the passing of Executive Order 70, what were the gains of the national government? What were the milestones that have been accomplished in the past 2 years since the Executive Order was passed?
Okay, Toti, one of those victories that I really enjoy with the international peace talks, diba, tinap na yan. Kasi we finally figured out it was just a tool that was being used. There was no sincerity. When I say international peace, let's see na with sila Joma season, blah, 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 diba? But the local peace talks continues. And there's that acknowledgement again that these farmers, itong mga IPs na sumali dyan, mga victims yan naloko yan diba? So we have to win them over. And then there's so many of them who surrender. And then when they go back into the fold of the law, binibigyan sila ng hanap, a fresh start in life, binibigyan sila ng hanap buhay. There's also cash, kasi grabe yung poverty, diba? Diyan sila na radicalize, diyan sila na uto, diyan sila na loko. So since the start of the NTF-ELCAC, around I think 14,000 surrenders.
Wow.
Surrenderers have already former rebels have already gone back into the fold of the law. And even as we speak, because I just had dinner with NSA and General Parlade and all and Jimika, the numbers are outstanding. And so for me that's really kasi there's genuine the goal of genuine peace is already there. It's at hand. Now we just need to keep on keeping on. We need to keep on talking to our people. We need to show them that this is a government that will really serve you, that we really care, that we're not here because we want you to vote for us or because whatever. Diba? No, it's not. It's really because it's the right thing to do. And we always apologize. We're sorry that nangyari ito sa inyo kasi hindi kami nagsilbi ng maayos.
Yeah.
So isa yun sa mga victories namin at saka para sa akin tingin ko yung namumulat yung tao sa katotohanan, di ba? Para kasi doktor na naman ako mag-isip, meron kang nararamdaman pero hindi mo alam kung bakit, di ba? Pero sinabi namin sa iyo kasi may cancer tayo, kaya may masakit ang ulo mo parate or whatever, di ba? So now we know there's this insurgency problem and we need to close ranks. Kailangan magkapit-bisig tayo. Kailangan kasi ito ang isang organisasyon, tong terorismo na to, that has taught our children the language, not just our children, but even us, the language of hate and mistrust towards government and even towards each other. Very divisive. That's what they teach. I'm before I was with NTF-ELCAC, I'm a very religious person. But I've come to believe in this concept of evil because these are very such evil people talaga. I mean, they don't have any conscience. They're half-baked ideologues. They're half-baked intellectuals, but they're hardcore ideologues. And they don't care. They don't really care if our children die. They don't care if IPs go hungry. They don't care if they kill tribal leaders in broad daylight in front of their children, and it's on a regular basis. They don't care. They just need to be. They just want us. They just want to meet the goals. So, for me, parang that's a victory for me na bumubukas namumulat ang ating mga kababayan kasi ang utak na bumukas na ay hindi na nagsasarado. Namulat na sila. Nakikita mo naman yung reaction na it's parang we don't even need to defend ourselves because it's the Filipino people that does it for us. They're really awake already. And that for me, maybe for me because I'm in STRADCOM or whatever, and it's important to have that kind of consciousness, yung mulat ka na.
Yeah. During the time of Fidel Ramos, during his presidency, they had the Southern Philippines Peace Council, if you're familiar with that time, during his term, SPCPD. How would you compare the effort of the government during his administration and the present? Were there any successes of that program or were there failures also that this present program may be avoided?
Toti, this president is something else. This president, he's a cut above the rest. Just for disclosure, at a certain point in my life, I stopped reading the newspapers and watching TV because it just got too depressing. I mean, it was so obvious that media was just so inane, so stupid. I mean, it was just so obvious. I didn't want any of it to define me or my children or my family. I didn't want any of that. So if you ask me about Fidel Castro, I hardly know anything about him except that I checked out after that.
I mean Fidel Ramos, Ramos time.
Fidel Ramos, yes.
Yeah. He's Southern Philippines, Southern Philippines Peace and Development, SPPD, something like that.
In fact, Toti, my uncle was head of that, the Southern Philippines, because we're from Mindanao. But I tell you, which is why when the president, when he won, a week after he won, and he called me up to join him, I didn't want any of it kasi my family is in public service and I'm the most indifferent about it but I work with the poor, that sort of thing. So I think that was why the president also wanted me in. So I'm sorry, but I'm not so well versed about stuff like that because I really checked out. Okay. And this is the first time that I'm seeing all of these things. But if you're asking me about this president is something else because I work very closely with him and I see his heart and it's something else, Toti. It's really,
Usec, we are of course one with you in believing in this presidency, and that his heart is really for the people. There is no doubt about that. However, this fight against insurgency has the fundamental situation there is the economic situation of our people. They become more susceptible to listen to the rhetoric of the left. If they're poor and they're going hungry. Now, my observation, our observation is not all of the economic advisors of the president are giving him the real lowdown on the situation. And maybe even to the extent of he is being misled to accommodate the other side of the ideology. Because there is an ideology of the left, but there is also an ideology of the economics, which is what we call the free marketers. That's what he has in the cabinet right now. And the free marketers do not care about uplifting the individuals and the quality of life of Filipino people. Their own direction, I'm sure you're exposed to them. They are statistics oriented, GDP, inflation rate, so on and so forth. But if you ask about the quality of life, they don't have any such idea. But our situation calls for improvement of the quality of life, or else hahatakin talaga ng mga ideologues yan. The ideologues don't want an economic development. They don't want that. because it lessens their capacity to be able to recruit. I don't know if this view has been shared or discussed by people around the president, so that he gets a more comprehensive appreciation of the situation.
You know what, Butch? I'm not again privy to what goes on, but what I do know about the president is that he's lasted this long and he's as excellent as he is and effective as he is because he does have his ear on the ground.
Mhm. I see.
That's as much as I can say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's enough.
You can't. Yeah, really, he's annoying. Yeah. Yes, his ear on the ground.
Okay.
It's very difficult to strike a balance of one that would, to do some reconciliation on one extreme and then to ensure a
Yeah.
sustainable development at the same time.
I agree.
But of course, the policies that the president is right, because for lack of expertise on that field, he has to rely on whatever expertise available within reach. But there are other schools of thought that would probably can help us, our country. And in fact, one of the advocacies that Katipunan Demokratiko ng Pilipinas
Yeah.
is Artikulo 12.
Is what? I'm sorry, Toti?
Artikulo
Is what?
12, Article 12 of the Philippine Constitution.
Okay.
Because
What is Article 12?
Article 12.
Section 17.
Section 17, 18, and 19. Okay.
Okay.
Because right now we are in this dire strait that we have a pandemic that is going global and it's affected our constituents, and we've soon realized, and we've been pushing this for the longest time, that the public utilities have been privatized, and that policy we feel is the one that has attributed to the flourishing of poverty in the country. Unlike in the previous administration, during the time of President Marcos, when all public utilities were still state-run and state-owned, now it's run by the private corporations. And we feel that we would like to bring this to the attention of the President, that one of the crooks, and he already started pursuing this when he gang up against Manila Water and Maynilad, and then recently in Isona, declared against the telcos, and he also had a pot shot against the electric companies, to concentrate on this and exercise his right to take over these public utilities under a state of emergency.
That's in the Constitution. That's the one, Article 12.
That's in Article 12. And if he so find it fitting, if it needs to transfer this critical resources to the state with just compensation, probably they can redirect the wealth of this capitalists to other more highly demand industries like steel production, agriculture, where we also need to concentrate some of our investors into, but are not being participated by this who has the greater wealth. So we feel that, okay, you're doing this share of trying to win our citizen back to the fold of the law, but at the same time, how long can we sustain this if they can see that it's still in the same game? The ones that are empowered are the very few and the elites, and the majority are suffering.
Yeah.
Kaya nga po kami dito sa Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino, inayaan po namin kayo dito na magpanayam para ipaliwanag sa ating mga mamamayan dahil nawawala na nga sila ng tiwala. Sa totoo lang sa ating Pangulo dahil nga mukhang talagang usod atras-abante nga eh. At yan, ito lumalabas sa ating mainstream media patungkol nga dito sa mga pagtatanggal dito sa pag-red tagging is the term, no? Na minamasama ng ating mainstream media, pero kami alam namin na may magandang hangarin itong red tagging para maisiwalat sa ating mamamayan na hindi lahat ng mga ito nakapwesto sa ating mababang kapulungan ay matitinong mga mamamayan. Kundi meron sila sarili nilang agenda na pasaganain ng pagpaglulubog at papagtaob ng ating Estado. Kaya nga, binibigyan namin ng puwang at liwanag ang ating mga sumusubaybay, lalo-lalo natin ating mga kababayan sa ibang bansa. marami po sa ating mga sumusubaybay sa program nito, Madam Undersecretary, ay mga OFW. At sila po ay talaga kanilang damdamin po para sa ating inang bayan at ayaw nila makita na talagang tuloy tayo masiraan. Kaya nga natutuwa nga sila at may mga ganitong klaseng pahayagan tayo talakayan na nangyayari na mismo ang ating mainstream media ay hindi talaga hindi nila pinapaksa sa kanilang programa. Kaya nandito po kami para bigyan sa inyo ng inyong sarili mong kakayanan na ipahiwatig sa ating mga mamayan na dapat nilang malaman.
Toti, napakahalaga talaga ng role ninyo. Sobrang mahalaga. Kasi nabibigyan kami ng boses, di ba? Mas nagiging fair.
Yes.
Right.
So, I'm so grateful talaga for programs like this kasi ang napakatalino, tapos very open, tapos meron nagkakaroon kami ng boses. At tingin ko naman pati kanina doon sa Senado, na-explain naman ng mahusay yung red tagging. Na gawa-gawa lang yan ng CPP-NPA, NDF para patahimikin kami. At kami, ang ginagawa lang namin, ang trabaho namin na sabihin ang isiwalat sa ating mga kababayan ang katotohanan para malaman yung pili nila.
In your opinion, Usec, kasi the one who was calling for the hearing was Senator Ping Lacson. You feel that you have satisfied his discomfort or doubts about the efforts of General Parlade?
Yeah, I think so, Butch. But that after the session kanina, he spoke to us and then he said, I still have some more questions, and I think maybe we can have another session. Sabi niya ganon. So and then that would be good for us also. Then we can explain ourselves even better. But if he was satisfied, if General Parlade had already defended himself, made himself really clear, I think so. Yeah. Madali namang intindihan yan eh. It's so easy, di ba?
Yeah.
And it's really just media that plays it up and twists it and deals with half truths, no?
Because I was surprised that it was he who expressed doubt in the beginning, since he used to be the chief of the PNP. And the PNP is supposed to be first line in the forefront in this fight with the NPAs.
Yes.
So he knows the kind of difficulties that our government is facing on it. And yet, when he saw that somebody with balls and intelligence like Parlade started to come out and start pointing fingers at the people that are, and he called Parlade did come up with red tagging. It was the Reds, it was the communists that called it red tagging. But when he started naming names, I don't know why these politicians got very uncomfortable.
Velasco.
Because all of them, because it's the other situation we observe, Usec. Because
that's a very good question, Butch. And I think it's about time. It's about time that we put the feet of our politicians to the fire and ask them saan ka ba.
Yeah, lahat yan.
I think it's about time.
Lahat sila.
Because one of the reasons, one of the very big reasons that this insurgency has lasted as long as it has, is because of the collusion and the cavorting of these politicians.
Tama.
Meron silang modus vivendi kasi kanya pinoprotektahan din nila.
Tama.
And not just the local government people, but even the senators and congressmen. No? And this
it has already become unacceptable, Butch, because how it looks like on the ground is children, 16 years old, 17 years old, cradling an M16 with their eyes closed forever. Yeah. That's how it looks like. I've seen it plenty of times. Wow. How it looks like is the dead tribal leaders. And I've worked with poor people all my adult life. But it has always been, not naman always, but when I go to GIDAs, geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, this is the kind of poverty that I have no words for. So that's what it looks like, and that's why I say that we should put the feet of our politicians to the fire and ask them, clearly, do you denounce, do you condemn Can you put up there, tarpaulin, persona non grata, ang CPP-NPA? Why are you so offended? Diba? Why don't we ask the hard questions now? Because it's about time. It's been 52 years. Do you want to end this? I want to end this.
Yeah.
Diba?
Right.
And if you don't want to end this, better if it will cost you your political career. Why are you betraying the people who give you trust?
That's right.
Ayan po. Tama po yung binabanggit ng LCAC nakalagay dun sa Executive Order number 70 yung good governance. So meron tayong mga traditional politicians na naglalaro, no? Naglalaro sa mga grupo na ito at dito mo makikita talaga yung kung totoo sa kanila yung good governance no? This is a question of hawak ka na sandata o hindi? Tatanggalin mo ba yan? Simple lang naman. Napakasimple. Bakit hindi nila masabi ito? At categorically, tanggalin nila sa mga teritoryo nila yung mga ganyan mga pwersa. At kung meron silang grievance, edi they simply come out lang, sabihin yung mga issues nila, pero walang armas. Yun lang naman ang pinagtatalunan dito Wala nang iba. No? At isa lang po ang ating gobyerno, isa lang din ang ating sandataang lakas ng Pilipinas, at meron tayong batas. Sumunod lang tayo doon, okay tayong lahat.
Pero marami talaga nakikinabang dyan. Tsaka alam mo, hindi naman coincidence yan na yung mga probinsya, mga ganyan na ang politiko ay nakikisayaw sa NPA, CPP-NPA, NDF. Yan yung pinakamahihirap. Tsaka pinaka-violente, pinakamaraming illiteracy, pinakamataas na maternal mortality rates, infant mortality rates. I mean, that's how it looks like on the ground. No?
Kanina po, Usec sa Senado, nabanggit yung mga telcos Yung telcos daw, may mga iba na nagbibigay ng progressive taxation, no? Diyan sa CPP.
Ipatawag, RJ, progressive taxation.
Or revolutionary taxation. Rev tax.
Ang ganda, revolutionary taxation.
Yeah.
Ano lang yun, panginikil.
Oo nga po, extortion. Anyway, so ibig sabihin po, kung sila ay seryosong galit sa mga oligarko na may kontrol na ekonomiya natin, ibig sabihin ba pagka nagbigay yung mga oligarko ng pondo sa CPP-NPA, yung galit nila sa mga oligarko doon sa mga issues nila sa kuryente, tubig, telcos, tapos na rin dahil nakapagbigay? Kaya malinaw po na doon papasok yung seriousness ng laban. No? So ginagamit yung sandata. Ano ba ang objective ng sandata? Extortion na nga lumalabas. Banditry. Ganun na po ang lumalabas ngayon. No? So, ang biktima rito ay yung mga mamamayan, tayong taong bayan, tayong mga sibilyan. Ang armed forces, maliligtas yan. Ang armed forces. Ang NPA, ganun din, maliligtas din yung mga yan. Pero yung nasa gitna na marami, tayo po ang biktima rito.
Yeah.
Kaya nga ho, ang pinaglalaban na natin ngayon talaga ang ating bansa. Ito na, it has come down to this. There's nothing, it's not about me, it's not about General Parlade, it's not about, not even about the president, it's not about NDF, it's about our country. And how much do you love your country?
But the problem gets very complicated, Usec, as you can see it, no? Because even the big businesses, the oligarchy, are contributing to the communists. Etong dalawang kumpanya lang yung Smartmatic tsaka Globe, 800 million pesos a year ang binibigay sa kanila, no? Kalagay dito, sinabi ni Eric, 800 million pesos a year ang kinokolekta nila dyan, no? So, that is, etong dalawa pa lang, yung mga iba pa, no? What about...
Ano lang yun, Butch, parang conservative estimate lang yun.
That's right.
So you're funding funding terrorism and poverty in our country.
That's right. And we, the public, are paying for that because siyempre,
Yeah.
ililipat nila yung gastos nila yon sa publiko, no? And this is what's happening. That's why the problem is really very complicated, and it may not. I'm sorry to say, but it may not be solved, no? In the so-called usual processes, no? There is economics, there is extortion. There is complicit yung mga political
In cahoots.
leadership is complicit to that, no? So where do you start? You just need a complete overhaul, and now how do you do a complete overhaul? I leave that up to you, Usec.
I used to have my eyeball. You know what, Butch? I'm more hopeful I'm really quite hopeful that, because you say it's complicated. Yeah, it is, but it's also quite simple. Diba? And the one that has taught me that this is simple is the president. If you have the political will to say stop paying those extortion money that they use to fund terrorism and poverty in our country, then I think it's as simple as that. Time and again, the president has shown us how simple it is. The laglag bala, di ba? You remember?
Yeah.
It went on and on and on. And I think in 3 or 5 days, it was gone with the president, di ba? So it can be as simple or as complicated as we want it to be. That's my take on this.
Kaya nga, we would suggest or we would request Madam Undersecretary to look into Article 12, Section 17, 18, and 19. And in light
What is
of
it? What is that, Toti? Toti, what is that? Could you please tell me what it is?
Article 12 is the national patrimony and the national economy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
All right, I get it. Yes.
It says here, in times of national emergency, when the public interest so requires, the state may, during the emergency and under reasonable terms prescribed by it, temporarily take over or direct the operation of any privately owned public utility or businesses affected with public interest. Ngayon, kung ito yung mga telcos ay talagang tinatamaan nga nito ng extortion money by these terrorist groups like the NPA, the President has the right to take over this public utility. Hindi lang yung telco, pati rin yung grid. Yung National Grid Corporation, yan din tinitira ng mga NPA. Pati rin yung tubig, lalasurin nila, lalagyan sila ng cyanide sa tubig. That will kill the population. So these are critical resources of national security that the President has the right to take over. And then under Section 18, dahil nga privatized na yan, the state may in the interest of national welfare or defense establish and operate vital industries and upon payment of just compensation, transfer to public ownership utilities and other private enterprise to be operated by the government. Kaya gaya na sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, Madam Undersecretary, noong panahon ni Pangulong Marcos, lahat itong mga public utilities is state-owned. Ito lang mula kay Cory, kay FBR, kay Arroyo, kay Noynoy, na privatize na yan. Kaya lahat ito kontrolado ng mga oligarko. Kaya itong mga oligarko, yan ang kinikikil ito ng mga NPA. At wala naman silang kakayanan, binabayaran nila.
Yeah.
And
Toti, but honestly, because I don't like this to be just talk, could you kindly give me a copy of that so that, and then
Yes.
I'll just do whatever I can.
yes,
Usec.
Usec.
I just really,
Thank you.
okay.
We will give your
I'll give
copy.
it to the right people. I'll give it to the right people.
Usec,
Salamat
I will just add a little to what Toti was saying. What is read for you is the provision, right, of constitution. But you know, when the government takes over, it will be capable of bringing down the cost of electricity, the water, everything. And because we are paying among the highest in the world sa electricity, our computation is you can bring down the electricity rates by 2/3 No? If you're paying 3,000 a month, you can only pay 1,000 because by 2/3 and still be able to operate efficiently all of these public utilities. Ganyan po, and you can see the impact on the people's economic situation.
Yeah.
Not only on the people, but also on all of the other businesses that are paying such high rates of electricity and water and telecommunication. So both the business sector and the population will be benefited by just a simple act of the president. No? And as you said, we believe in his political will, no? But we're still waiting for it regarding this Article 12. No? This is, by the way,
Has this reached him? Have you tried to communicate with
We
him?
tried many times.
we've tried many times. And
How?
in different
Different channels.
channels.
Oh.
And we also want to add that we are conducting a survey. No? There's a survey that has already reached something like 12,000 people. No? And the survey is simple about this Article 12 and the President's capacity to do it. We have a 99% yes, no, that they want it. No? Of course, who will not want it? No? But we had the survey and it is verifiable because you can call the people whom we had asked. And we can list down the specific question we asked with regard to this. Unlike the other SWS or Pulse Asia, you cannot verify, you cannot check their respondents, and you cannot check who even funded their operations. In this case, it was KDP who asked for a survey to be made.
Yeah.
But we are brave enough, at least, because it's an open thing, transparent, to make the respondents' telephone numbers and their names available. 12,000 over the past how many months now? No? That we've been
99%.
99%. A little better than the popularity rating of the president.
And added to what...
Ang may ayaw lang, Butch, yung 1%ers.
Yun yung mga oligarko. Actually, dagdag ko na...
Greedy bastards.
Hindi, tsaka yung mga kaliwa. Yung mga ayaw nila yan.
So sa numbers lang, we're talking about if the electric companies, electric pa lang, wala pa yung water, telco, are making 1.5 trillion pesos annual income a year. The 1 trillion will be saved.
And then pumped into the
And
economy.
that money is going to go back to the citizen. So if government takes over and brings down the rate by 2/3, that's enough new wealth that circulates the economy
Every year.
every year.
Sila Sani Dominguez of Finance can never
They will never push for that.
borrow that amount. And this is not borrowed money. This is not inflationary because you're transferring from the profits of the oligarchs to the people, and there is no corruption. And unlike what you had given to the barangays, there was corruption. This one, no. All you have to do is to make a declaration and the people pay only 1/3 of what they were paying before.
At dagdag ko lang po doon sa sinasabi ng dalawang professor po natin. Ito po yung issue ng national security. Makakatulong po ito sa initiative ngayon ng LCAP dahil alam naman po natin na ang local communist insurgency, ang isa sa mga issues na mga bitbit nila ay itong mga utilities. At kung ito ay matatapos ng ating presidente sa pamamagitan ng isang executive order, hindi naman kailangan pa na konsultahin ng Kongreso at Senado rito, isang EO lamang, ididikit lang ito dun sa good governance ng presidente dyan sa LCAP at buong bansa, sigurado, ang recruitment ng mga pwersang CPP-NPA, sigurado po yan. Hindi lang ho yung basta hihina. Ano po? Kung hindi, magkakaroon tayo ng permanenteng kapayapaan at lalakas ang ating pamahalaan. At ang pamahalaan, magagawa niya yung kanyang tunay na obligasyon sa taong bayan. Yun po yung sinasabi nung binasa ko po kasi yung dokumento at kahit ang inyong komposisyon, konti lang naman yung military doon sa LCAC Marami dyan, marami sa inyo ay mga sibilyan na nasa loob ng gobyerno. Yan yung hindi nakikita nung iba. Baka iniisip nung iba ang LCAC ay mga utak militar lang. Hindi po. 90% ay civilian yung operation. Yung 10%, yun yung sa military. Ganun nga yung pagkasabi ni General Antonio Parlade nung naging guest po namin siya dito. At para magkaroon na ng long-lasting peace sa ating bansa, ang pag-control ng public utilities ng Estado, ng gobyerno, ay napaka-importante. Hindi na tayo parang sa tuwing magkakaroon ng kalamidad o magkakaroon ng pandemya, Ayala, Manny Pangilinan, hihingi ka ng pondo, hindi na gano'n. Dahil ang gobyerno may sariling pondo at hindi na siya mangungutang.
Usec.
Yeah.
If the president does this, what we're asking him to do, his popularity will be 101%. Even the dead will vote for him. I'm not kidding. And if you're looking for mass support, the people support against this, against the CPP-NPA, the people support of government, this is the vehicle. This is the vehicle. And not only is it a social solution, it is an economic solution because this is the vaccine for economic recovery. This is what we are waiting for, not the magic vaccine for COVID, because we are not sure about that.
How do we, Butch, Toti, and how do we get the ball rolling on that? What? You'll send me an email?
Yes,
Opo.
okay.
Yeah?
Opo,
We'll send you an email.
ASAP, ma'am.
And
Parang, kasi I'm not the one that's gonna make it happen, di ba? It's not my, but I can put people together and then maybe they'll have questions, di ba? That sort of thing.
Correct,
Diba? So we
yeah.
can have a meeting, di ba? That sort of thing, correct?
Opo.
Yes.
But first, it
Sige
starts with
po.
an email. It always starts with an email.
Yeah.
Opo.
I just want we don't mind if they're there, but I just want you to know that the ones that will most probably object to this are the economic advisors of the president.
Pero sa totoo lang, Undersecretary, nakaabot na po rin niya sa ears ni Secretary sa National Security.
Ani?
This.
Esperon.
Si Esperon through Dick Pengson. Dick
Who
Pengson.
again? Secretary Esperon and?
Si ano din?
Dick Pengson. Dick Pengson and are with the National Security Cluster.
Yeah.
So they already heard this. So mabot na rin yan kay Secretary Lorenzana. Alam din po yan ni Secretary Esperon. And kayo po, alam nyo na ngayon yan.
Saka si General Parlade.
Si General Parlade, alam na niya po yan.
But they have not seen that it is all integrated.
Ganito po yun Yung mga Usec, yung mga politiko na nakikipaglaro sa CPP-NPA, kapag putol natin yung relasyon ng mga oligarko dyan sa mga CPP-NPA na yan, tapos na po ang boxing. Dahil yung mga politiko na ito at yung mga oligarko, wala na silang hihingan ng pondo para manatili sila dyan sa kapangyarihan na yan. Kaya naman may mga legitimate issues rin naman tayo sa mga senador, congressman, dyan sa mga issue ng korupsyon. Maraming problema ang gobyerno. Pero tama po kayo, ito yung panahon ng pagtutulungan at holistic po dapat yung approach. Hindi po pwede na ang matapang, si Usec Lorraine Badoy lamang, o si Usec Egco, si General Parlade, sino pa ba? No? Konti lang po yung mga talagang lumulutang Ano po? Kinakailangan tulong-tulong yung private. Private po kami. Nasa labas kami ng gobyerno. Pero meron kaming mga munting solusyon na makakatulong para sa paghanap ng permanenteng kapayapaan at kaunlaran ng bansa natin.
I-email niyo sa akin yan.
Opo.
Tayo.
Yes.
Opo.
Okay.
And if you want...
Parang ang ano niya, di ba parang ang elegante niya, parang seamless siya, parang ang simple lang niya.
Opo.
Hindi siya ganun kasimple actually kasi may bisasagka sa
Hindi komplikado.
Oo lang. Yun lang.
Ano yung mga oligarko?
Pero
Hindi papayag yan. Grabe yung sense of entitlement yan.
Pero they're very few, no? They're very few. And yun sa kuryente, mga ano lang yan, mga 8 tao lang yan no? So you cannot imagine 8 people earning, collecting a minimum of 1.5 trillion pesos a year, only because the government had given them the privilege of owning and controlling public utilities. That is the onerous part, no? That's the onerous part. That government instead of the public becoming the beneficiary of public utilities, it is the private sector that is becoming the beneficiary, and we are the victims. No?
Yeah. You can't really blame these oligarchs for feeling so entitled. They get all this preferential treatment.
Yes.
Unconscionable.
That's right. But we can move them to some other industries that they can make a lot of money in, supported by government, as long as it is not the public utilities.
Yes.
That you don't destroy them.
The patty, yeah, that's really, it shouldn't be the utilities talaga.
It should not be the utilities because ang tanatamaan ng ang taong bayan. Pero idalhin natin sila sa mga industriyang iba, tulad ng bakal, gawaan ng bakal, pharmaceuticals, fertilizer industries. Tapos suportahan sila completely ng gobyerno with all kinds of incentives and financial support. No? God, that way, at least yung papasukan nila will be beneficial to the whole country. No? Yan po ang direksyon ng sinasabi ng KDP. No?
Kasi po yung effort po ngayon ng LCAP, bagamat na malakas po yung reaksyon ng publiko, pero makalipas ng administrasyon ni Pangulong Duterte, hindi natin alam sino yung susunod na administrasyon na papalit.
Ayun.
Ipagpapatuloy ba nila yung initiative ng LCAP towards this good governance? Pero kailangan ng concrete economic foundations mailatag ngayon para kahit sinong gobyerno pumalit dyan at nandyan yung public utilities, hawak ng gobyerno, at tuloy-tuloy yung ating campaign, kapayapaan tayo, no? Wala tayong magiging problema. Hindi yung susunod na presidente, mag-iisip din siya ng bagong approach dito sa anti-insurgency campaign. Maglalagak na naman ng bagong pondo. Ngayon pa nga lang yung pondo na hinihingi nyo kada barangay na 20 million, kung hindi ko kamali, 20 million ba o 2 million per barangay? 20 million per barangay. Yan hindi nga masyadong naiintindihan ng mga ordinaryong publiko. At yan, madaling-madali yan dito sa CPP-NPA na gamitin nila na bakit napalaki ng pondo ng yan na nga yung ginagamit nilang issue ngayon. So, pagdasal natin yung mga permanenteng solusyon tulad nga po nung Artikulo 12 na ito na sana ay makasama po kayo dito sa initiative na ito para sa pagkakaroon ng permanenteng kapayapaan at kaunlaran, no? Peace and development ng ating bansa. Ano po? Siguro, opo. Papadala po namin. Opo. May pag-communicate po ako sa inyo and ano nyo po yung email address and then we will send you. At kung pwede, mag-meeting po tayo ng para
Well, you can have lunch if you're still available one of these days next week, we can have a lunch meeting.
I don't know what my schedule is, but maybe next week, something like that. I'm not too sure about my schedule.
Yeah, we'll let you know. We'll, of course, it will all depend on your
You have my
availability.
number naman? You have
Opo.
my number, right?
Opo.
Yeah.
Opo. Sige po, batiin na po na, napakarami po ng mga nagpapatid ng mensahe. Si Ka Eric lang po, medyo mahirap daw yung signal, kaya hindi siya nakasabay. Siguro, another time na lang po.
You should really have Ka Eric in your program.
Oo nga po. Opo.
Haligin ng NTFL captain.
Opo. Ito na po yung mga bumati sa atin, Madam Usec Lorraine, ano po. Ayan, mula kay Ferdinand Cabasug Sanchez.
Secretary, Undersecretary Lorraine, now that it's already in the Senate hearing about the red tagging of terrorists, CPP-NPA, next na ba yung kayong mag-file sa COMELEC to disqualify sa party list? How do you respond, Undersecretary?
Meron na, naka-file na kami. Yung for Gabriela and Kabataan party list, naka-file na siya.
Okay, thank you.
Tapos susunod na yung iba, nagki-case build up pa lang sa iba, pero sunod-sunod na. Pero meron na.
Okay.
Gabriela at saka party list, pinapa-disqualify na namin sa COMELEC.
Galing po yan kay Ferdinand, Ngayon kay Dio, Jan, Sir, Ma'am, pwede bang pilitin ng Pangulo ang mainstream media na i-cover at ibalita ang mga effort ng gobyerno katulad ng investigasyon ng Senado?
That was your question.
Ako, sir, hindi. Pero alam ko merong batas na parang a certain percent
Correct.
na dapat libre, parang ganon.
Correct.
Pero hindi pa namin pero hindi mo sila pwedeng pilitin dahil freedom of the press, etc. Diba?
Right. But under KVP rules, merong ganun
Meron
po
namang
yan.
government communications, may PCOO naman, pero syempre late ng budget natin. Sobrang
Okay. Okay, Josephine Haron Padilla, Pites, Usec Lorraine, Marie D. Aboy, Badoy, to Usec.
Fight yun.
Fights, no? To Usec Lorraine, Marie, Badoy, can you please run as a party list representative in the next election and smash them all? Meron ka na dito tagahanga. Galing mo kay Josephine.
Is that a joke? No, kasi my father was in public service all my life. He was CONCON delegate. He was a congressman. He was when he retired, he was a justice of Sandigan Bayan. And I told myself, I swore I'll never get into public office. I hate it. It's too hard, Because I saw, and then things happen in your life. But then I want to go back to medicine.
Right. Kay Diana Perez po ito, no? Important question po, Ma'am Badoy. Anong tingin nyo kay Hontiveros? Karapat dapat ba talaga siyang maging senador? Kasi sa tingin, sa karamihan, kalibel niya si Lugaw ang mga puppet.
Ako very public about my views about the vice president. I think she's below par. So, si Hontiveros, I didn't vote for her. No?
Okay.
Hindi ako believe.
Okay.
But okay lang siya.
Okay.
Yeah. I understood what she was saying kanina kasi may nilabas na mga litrato si Secretary Anyo ng mga batang namatay, di ba? And then parang she was offended by it and then she took offense and she said, basta kinall out niya na if I were a mother and I saw those photos, I'm not quoting her faithfully, if I saw those photos, I'd be so offended. But I was thinking, really, that if I were a mother, I would be more offended by those photos of dead children, the reason why those children are dead. Diba?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something wrong, diba?
That's right.
Parang nakita ko po yun parang pinaparade daw yung mga litrato nitong lalong-lalo na mga bangkay na, mga patay na. Pero tama po kayo Medyo may problema talaga.
Okay.
At saka mga anak na natin itong pinag-uusapan natin, di ba?
Tama po.
Gusto nyo bang dagdagan natin ito? Di ba?
Okay.
At saka ayaw kasi ng CPP-NPA na makita natin yan. Ayaw nila makita yung katotohanan, di ba? Gusto nila tawaging activist pero namamatay na NPA. Diba? So, pakita natin yung katotohanan. Ito yung nangyayari sa mga anak natin. Baby pa yung mga itsura pero patay na. There are plenty more pictures that I've seen that I hope I wish I hadn't seen. And these are bodies of young kids with their knees sticking out, their elbows sticking out, shallow graves. No, so that's the reality. Do you want more of that? Diba? Do you want more? We want you don't care because it's in some province in Mindanao. No, they're already in Miriam. They're recruiting your children online in Ateneo and Lasal. So that's it. It's the reality already. It's becoming true in your, because some people they don't care forget it's in Manila, di ba?
Yeah.
No, but no,
Okay.
it's happening. It's all over.
From Freddy Orendina, hope Madam Badoy will include Article 12 in one of the cabinet meeting. Yes, we can be verified via phone calls including the addresses. Yan po'y galing kay Freddy Orendina.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, I like the idea, Toti, honestly.
All right. Yes. Yeah.
Salamat po.
Salamat. Love DDS 2020 Soriano, another caller. Gumaganda si Usec Badoy dahil nilalabas niya ang kagandahang kulay ng gumawa ng mabuti sa mahal nating bayan at mamamayan. Okay, meron rin tagahanga.
Galing yun.
From Glenn Buwan, Madam Undersecretary, tell the President to take heed of the advice of KDP regarding Article 12, Section 16, 17, 18 to 22. Alright. From Diana Perez, ang tapang nyo, Ma'am Badoy, salamat. From Freddy Orendina, present, tinalinuhan mo pagbotong Smartmatic, nagbilang, kakandidato ko, ask ng Comelec, may pera ka ba? Hanap ng oligarko ng maraming pera. Kaya lahat ng elected official, asa sa oligarko ng maraming pera. Iboboto mo, pinagpipilian ng oligarko, di po ba? Kaya walang bobo dante. At pera ng oligarko, pinamimigay ng kandidato. Joma is in EU, controlled by the British globalizer. Salute to Madam Badoy. Go, 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 we fight. From Lloyd Castañeras, watching from Canada. From Ernie Ocampo, ginibig po, KDB family. From Cel Cordero, we have budget for vaccine, but we don't have for modernizing and repair of our public utilities and health centers. No free medicines for the poor. Poorly equipped health centers with no ambulances, but a lot of money for this pandemic kuno. From Carding Domingo, good evening po sa inyong tatlo, mabuhay po kayo. From Aline Paliones po ng Santa Mesa, Manila, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Sa dapat mawala na yung makabaong black. Kawawa naman yung kabataan, ninanakaw lang ang kamalayan. From Joel Lacandola, napabati po sa Katilpero. Ganoon din po kay Alan Flores Arroyo, salamat sa KDP. Gusto po nila, buwagin na natin ang komunismo sa ating bansa, sagapin natin ang mga kabataan. Kay Alan Flores Arroyo, mga komunista, walang Diyos. Kay Giovanni Omega, sana i-disqualify ang pagtakbo ng mga leftist party list sa sunod na eleksyon para mahinto na ang recruitment ng mga kabataan at sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. From Glen Buwan, the Cambodian insurgency was financed by drug sales by the insurgents. Hanggang ngayon, ang Laos-Cambodia borders are gateways for drug smuggling. From Frau Lons Burak Marcotillo, Laban Pilipinas. From Cesar Pugata, Mukete, watching from DDS Hong Kong. From Freddy Rodina, in defense Pasi Velasco, sa Makabayan Block. From Joel Lacandola, mabuhay ang mahal na Pangulo Duterte, mabuhay ang mga Pilipino at nagtatanggol para sa katotohanan. From Ricardo Sikam, good topic, your comments very good and informative, thank you po sirs. From Alan Flores Arroyo, yung tax namin, pinag-sweldo sa mga komunistang kongresista. From Cherry Lit, magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. From Pete Arce, when Joma executed Oplan Big Leap Forward, a clandestine NPA, a secret operation ordering Danny Cordero and 5 of his city partisans to throw 4 grenades at the stage of the LP rally on August 21, 1971 and blame it to Marcos. This criminal act that killed 9 bystanders watching the LP meeting that advanced a rally included a 9-year-old bystander as in the criminal act clincher that produces karmic effects of failed strategies in the tactics of CPP-NPA for more than 50 years. The ruling used business elite wants a perpetual war to continue that the will ensure the underdevelopment of the country. From Lioba Chokovs, batang mabait, ang ganda naman ni Usec Lorraine Badoy, I love you po, ma'am. From Lioba Chokovsky, call all Filipino peoples unite and embraces the revolutionary forces, because without revolutionary forces, nothing genuine justice, nothing freedom, nothing democracy, always slave by capitalism, monopolies, and reactionary government. Puppet terrorists, fascists, and corrupt criminals, drug lords syndicate, Duterte, AB, PNP. Broken English. From Glenn Buwan, pakitanong na rin kung ano ang influence ng NED, the National Endowment
For democracy.
for Democracy, finance organization within the CPP-NPA, NDF. Also, EU, US, Intel organizations financing these NGOs. Meron ba lumabas dito, Usec, Lorraine? Tungkol
What
sa
was the
NED?
question, Toti? I didn't hear.
Yung National Endowment,
Ano?
yung international,
National
National.
Endowment for Democracy. There is an organization called National Endowment for Democracy, which is
Oh,
budgeted by the US, no, as a fund for the CIA. No, it has been disclosed on many occasions that the National Endowment for Democracy of the CIA is helping fund the CPP-NPA and other NGOs here in the Philippines, including Rappler and Vera Files. No?
was that
Yeah.
disclosed?
yeah. What was your question, though? If it's true, would that surprise any of us here? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
But was that disclosed in the hearing this morning?
Hindi na discuss.
No.
No.
The national the NED wasn't mentioned at all.
Okay.
It wasn't.
From Jan, samantalang yung gawa-gawa ni Trillanes about Bicoy, lahat ng mainstream media nandun. Hindi lang gobyerno, dapat pati mainstream media tumulong. From Lilian
Yeah, alam mo,
Caballero,
Tony, can I just say something?
Yes, please.
Plenty of times, we get interviewed, tapos the following day, kung ano sinabi mo, opposite na opposite.
Yeah.
Yung talagang bastusan ang ginagawa ng media. No? So,
Yes.
tsaka sumama kasi ako doon sa Europe na yung delegation para humarap sa UN, sa EU, gano'n, di ba? Para paliwanagan talaga yung Pilipinas, no? Kasi matagal tayo hindi nag-represent. Dami talagang kasinungalingan sinasabi tungkol sa ating bansa. Ang endpoint noon ng CPP-NPA, NDF ng mga NGOs ay para mag-raise ng funds. Para they paint a picture of a president who's a butcher, a dictator, is killing everybody left and right. The streets are flowing with blood, and then they take photos and chuchuchu, and then it's to raise funds, and it's in slick brochures. Tapos pag tinay up mo yan sa mga indigenous peoples, ang kinikwento nila, may dadating na kunwari NGO doon, half day lang, kukuha ng picture nila, tapos the next day you can see it's those brochures that Ibon Foundation prints, and it finds its way in the EU, and that's where they ask for funds. So that was our mission, just to disclose and to unmask the CPP-NPA, NDF.
Okay.
So there.
All right, thank you. From Lilia Caballero from
Yeah.
Malaysia. Good to hear from PCOO Undersecretary Madam Badoy. Good evening po sa inyong tatlo. From Rainy Kagape, I hope one day Joma season is captured and executed by hanging in public. From Leomar Beltran, hindi po ba may halong dilaw din yan, Ma'am Badoy, na yan? They're asking
Halong?
you kung meron kang halong dilaw.
Ako?
Yes.
Okay. I voted for Lenny. No, honestly, I for the longest time, I really thought, UP graduate ako eh. So, akala ko talaga Marcos was the devil. Akala ko si Connie was the saint. I bought all of that. I bought into all of that. I voted for Cory Aquino. I voted for Noynoy Aquino. Up to, I voted for Lenny Robredo. Not just voted, I campaigned for Lenny Robredo.
Ganun ba?
Because you know what? I had that dilaw mindset talaga. But now I see, even when I was at the DSWD, I really defended and fiercely defended and protected the CPP-NPA, NDF without knowing. I was with Gabriela. That's why it serves me really well now na naiintindihan ko paano sila mag-isip. And it's funny because both camps are bashing me, di ba? The Dilaw and the DDS. Di naman and then ganyan, di ba? So, but the only thing there is when you have evidence that's presented to you, are you not supposed to change your mind? You're supposed
Correct.
to change your mind, di ba?
Correct.
It's not to say that I love Marcos or no, it's not like that. But I don't anymore think him the devil that I was taught in UP and by my circles, the circles that I moved in. I still would want justice and all that, but I've already learned how to take hate out of my heart. Kasi na-realize ko ngayon, yan pala yung ginawa sa amin sa UP. Yan yung radicalization. Na talagang ginalit ka. I really thought, kaya nagulat ako na all these things that I thought that Plaza Miranda was because of Marcos and the Digos massacre was because of the AFP. It was all wrong. I was lied to. So kaya nga parang in my job now at the strategic communications of the NTF-ELCAC, I understand very, very well, for instance, people who defend, kunyari, kasi sa Gabriela, hindi naman lahat yan maybe 90-something% dyan, unwitting, hindi nila alam. So, naintindihan ko yan. So, dilaw ba ako? Siguro noon, pero ngayon, hell no. No way. No way.
Okay.
Patayin mo na lang ako.
Alright.
We
That's
salute
the worst
you.
thing you can call me.
Okay.
We salute you.
Dilaw is stupid.
Thank you for your honesty, Usec and Lorraine.
Naman is the truth. Yeah.
Right. From Esteban, pagtakahan. Kaya pala hindi makapagpatayo ng maraming tower ang Globe and Smart kasi every tower pala may tax sa mga animal na NPA. Galit tayo sa Smart and Globe, bakit hindi sila makapagbigay ng magandang service sa mamayan? Yung pala ang dahilan, mga NPA, animal talaga mga NPA na to. From Christina Magay, ang revolutionary tax of the CPP-NPA, NDF of these telcos ay nakaatang sa balikat ng bawat Pilipino.
That's right.
From J. Lasalia, ilang ka Eric ba kapabawa kailangan lumantad para pumilos ang dalawang kamara upang tuluyan na tanggalin sa Kongreso ang Makabayan Bloc at ubusin na ang mga rebeleng komunista. Antayin pa ba ang sumikat ang mga rebeleng yan at marami pang mga kawal at pulis ang magaglagas at mga kabataan maligaw ng landas? Kailan? Ano pa ba ang hinihintay ninyong mga mambabatas? From Renny Kagape, much better to push...
That's a very good question to ask.
Okay.
Diba? The NTF, the government has leveled some very serious allegations against the Makabayan Bloc. Diba? And we're going to substantiate it. And it has reached the Senate. And so I'm really curious. Because my father was a congressman, so intindihan ko yung collegial na relationship, di ba? Pero up to what point? Up to what point do we stop that, di ba? Ako, I think terrorism is clear enough.
Okay.
So those are really very important questions that we must ask.
Right. Okay. Maraming salamat. From Renny Kagape, much better to push the federalism form of government so that the party list group is not part of the Congress anymore. Amelita Iwase, bakit hindi na kaagad kayo kumilos, Secretary Badoy, nung malaman ninyo ang gawang mali ng mga newscasters?
Alin, what do you mean?
Bakit hindi agad kayo kumilos, Undersecretary Badoy, nung malaman ninyo ang gawaing mali ng mga newscasters?
By media siguro, ibig niya sabihin by media.
Right. Yes.
Oo, kasi, who's this again who asked it?
Amelita Iwase.
Amelita, yung pag nalalaman namin na mali yung newscasters, kunyari kunyari for instance, BBC, di ba, mga ganyan, CNN, mga New York Times, mga ganon. Mahirap banggain yung mga ganyan. Pero ginagawa namin yung best namin, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero hindi ibig sabihin na na hindi gumagalaw. Yun lang talaga,
Right.
very deeply entrenched na sila.
Okay. From Alain Paliones, tama yung mga idol na tumbok niyo. Alain Paliones ng Santa Mesa Manila. Lumalayo po kayo sa topic ng tungkol sa Artikulo 12. Perlas ng silanganan. Pinagtatawanan lang nila yung Senate hearing nila, Senator Ping Lacson and Tito. Parang wala lang. Serious matters lahat ng isiniwalat ng kanilang task. Pinagtatawanan lang. Mga kawalang respeto sa Army and PNP.
Sinong pinagtatawanan? I'm sorry?
Yung sa Senate hearing nila Ping Lacson and Tito, parang wala. Serious matters lahat ng sinuwalat ng kanilang task. Pinagtatawanan lang nila. Mga walang respeto sa Army. In other words, they didn't like what Senator Ping Lacson and Tito reacted kasi parang they're not taking the testimony of the Army and the PNP seriously.
No, that's not true. Hindi totoo yan. They take it very seriously.
Okay.
We had talks before and after. It was really serious. We had documents to it just maybe light but very serious process that we went through a while ago.
Okay.
At may may bigat yon yung mga isiniwalat kanina. Huwag kayong mag-alala.
Alright. Here's a question from Leomar Beltran, Usec. Are Yorme, Isko, and Remulla collaborators of CPP-NPA, NDF?
Are who? Isko and
Remulla.
Governor Remulla. I don't really know. That's why we should be very clear, no? Sir, kasi parang it's very important talaga for our government officials to give the people who trust them clarity. They have to be very clear. So, saan ka ba? That's why it's very important to ask that. I think that one with Governor Remulla, maybe it was just a misstep. I don't know.
Yeah.
With Isko Moreno, I don't see anything. I don't see any reason bakit siya ganun yung reaction niya. Syempre maraming kwento, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and see what the bigger picture is.
Okay.
Pero I will not go as far as saying na CPP-NPA, NDF sila. Hindi ganun ang proseso na yun.
Right.
Malayo.
Right. Thank you. From Danilo Esguera, sana matapos na ang NPA para maraya na tayo. From Marisol Goriani, good evening po, Sir Butch. And then Fatima Uzi, bakit po si Duterte kung talaga na may malasakit sa mga maliliit na mamamayan na Pilipino, ba't hindi niya simpleng ipatupad ang Artikulo 12? I-take over lahat yung utility sa mga oligarko. Alright.
Baka hindi pa nakaabot kay Pangulo. Kaya mag-alala.
Yes. Okay, maraming salamat po. Kay pinulakan na amin yung oras, Madam Undersecretary. At nabigyan namin kayo ng huling pananalita sa ating programa.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Toti, and everybody, at saka sa mga tagapakinig. Yung problema na ito, 52 years na ito, buti na lang nagkaroon ng National Task Force at nanggaling ito sa ating Pangulo at napakahusay niya. Pero hindi niya ito kaya mag-isa. Tapos ang National Task Force ay binubuo ng mga mas napakasarap magtrabaho sa task force na ito kasi talagang makikita mo totoong mga lingkod bayan, talagang nagmamahal sa bayan ito. Pero kahit ganun pa man, hindi rin namin ito kayang tapusin na kami lang. Ang magpapapanalo nito talaga ay ang taong bayan. Kasi tayo ay talagang na natutuwa ako na sinaniligayahan kami na nakikita namin na mulat na kayo at ready na kayo ipaglaban ng ating bansa. So, tuloy-tuloy lang ito. At hindi tayo talaga dapat tumigil kasi isa lang ang ating bansa. So dapat mahal natin siya to the best of our abilities. At para pag meron tayong ipamamana sa ating anak na bansa na mas maganda kaysa sa nadatnan natin. Yan ang pangarap namin lahat dito sa NDFL tapos sa gobyerno. Yun lang. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po, Undersecretary.
Well, makakaasa po kayo, Usec Lorraine Badoy, ng Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino, ang KDP, at 10 ng mga ibang mga kasama po dito sa mga koalisyon na gustong magkaroon tayo ng magandang kinabukasan. Kami pong lahat, no, ay susuporta sa ating Pangulo at sa lahat ng mga ahensya na tumutulong sa kanya para sa magandang kinabukasan ng ating bansa. You can rest assured that we will always be supportive. But hopefully we are able to do certain things to participate and makatulong sa mga pagkukulang ng mga ibang ahensya ng ating gobyerno papunta dyan sa kaunlaran.
Okay. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much.
Right. Dito rin po kami magpapaalam sa saglit na ito. Sundan niyo po yung susunod naming programa sa araw ng Huwebes. Ito yung lingkod, Toti Casiño, nagpapaalam.
Butch Valdes po, KDP.
RJ Javellana po at maraming salamat Madam Usec Lorraine Badoy. Sabay-sabay po nating isigaw, mabuhay ang Pilipinas!
Mabuhay!